So, it's been a while. I just looked it up, and the last time I released an episode of 5 cool mods for just regular old Fallout 4 was November 2nd, and that was 24 days ago. It's more or less been the Skyrim song and dance for the past little while, but we're finally getting to a point where Fallout 4 mods are starting to pick back up again, and we are getting a ton of cool mods, thus warranting the re-release of this series. I guess that's pretty much it. If you guys do enjoy the content, as always, I encourage you to consider subscribing, but with all of that being said, let's just jump right into it. So the first mod I do want to show you guys is the 1950s feminine outfit. So this is going to be a brand new mod by Crimson Rider. He's one of the mod authors that has been developing a lot of these different outfit mods, typically revolving around different video games. Regardless, basically what this mod is going to do is act as a replacer for the female version of a lot of the outfits in Fallout 4. So previously, if your female put on a suit, it basically just looked like a men's suit, but kind of stretched out and everything. Well, now you're actually going to have skirts and stockings and high heels, and all around, I just think it makes a lot of these outfits much more appropriate for the feminine people out there. Obviously, Fallout 4 has a lot of its lore kind of taken from the 1950s, so these are very well fitting into the game, as well as they look very good. By far, my favorite was definitely the Silver Shroud, as well as the Mailman outfit. I just think both of those look so much cooler, and it made me actually want to use those outfits when previously, as a female character, I would just kind of be like, they don't look really good, and overlook them and forget about them. Definitely revitalizing a lot of the different options you do have in the game, and I actually think this is a really good mod, but one you probably will overlook at first glance, but I definitely recommend taking it and just downloading it. So up next, we have automatically lowered weapons. So I'm sure you've seen lowered weapon mods in the past. There's a few different ones out there. One of them, you hit a button to lower your weapon. Another one, it just automatically lowers them. Similar to this mod, but very different at the same time. The way automatically lowered weapons differentiates between lowered weapons is basically when you are in combat, or if you have combat in the past 3 seconds, your weapons will automatically be raised. So as you could probably see by this video, when there's a raider near me, or really any enemy near me in general, your weapons will not automatically be lowered. They're going to instantly be raised and maintain that way as long as that enemy does persist in a certain area. I don't really know what the radius is, but if you run far enough away, eventually they will lower again. It's a relatively simple mod, but I think this is a huge quality of life change. Lowered weapons was kind of silly because if you had certain enemies, you just start lowering your weapons, be like, well, this is not an appropriate time for my weapons to be lowered. Fortunately, this mod finds a way to fix that. That's relatively intuitive and really easy to use. So next up, we do have Nuclear Reloaded. Basically, this is going to be a combination of like one of those green mods as well as a little bit of a weather mod. So what this mod is going to change is add in a lot of the pre-war trees that you kind of saw in the intro bit that Fallout 4 did have. This was taken in the autumn season, so it's basically giving the game as a whole an autumn feel. On top of that, it's actually not going to be the same as a lot of those other green mods out there. As you're traveling around, you'll find a lot of these trees aren't as bright and aren't as green, but on top of that, some of them will even be blasted and destroyed in their own right. I think this is actually, even in my short time using it, my favorite out of the green mods because for me it seems the most realistic. Enough time has passed that the vegetation and a lot of the trees and stuff have had time to regrow and they're not completely dead or destroyed anymore. But at the same time, not all of them are totally there. There is still some wreckage and you can see that as you're exploring through the game. And mods like Simple Green, which I do think look really cool and it really spices up your game, are a little bit too much. They make the game look too vibrant and too lively, while this one's a little bit darker and gloomier, which I feel like better fits the theme of Fallout 4. On top of that, it's going to make the weather follow the same suit, where it's going to be a little bit darker and gloomier, like you are playing a post-apocalyptic game. The mod author claims that it doesn't really have any FPS drop. That's totally not true. I saw about 5 to 10 FPS, although I was still able to maintain 60 FPS at 1440p on a 1080. Regardless, it's a pretty cool mod, definitely my favorite out of the green mods so far, and in my eyes worth a download if that's something you want. So next up, we do have Raider Armours. This is a brand new mod by Eleonora, and this definitely is a pretty cool and interesting mod. Basically, it's going to be using a lot of assets from vanilla as well as other mods, and as well as I imagine it does create some of its own assets. The theme behind the 4 armors added in by this mod is that it's supposed to be Nuka World Raider theme, so in the sense that you are siding with the Raiders, so you yourself are a Raider. I actually really like the look of a lot of these armors. They kind of have a good clothes to armor feel. I feel like that's something Fallout 4 didn't take advantage of in its fullest extent. By that I mean is it actually looks like you're wearing normal clothes, but kind of augmented it to make it feel a little bit more protected. It's a relatively simple mod, again, only adding in these 4 new armor types, but I think they look very good. And if you're going to do a playthrough of Nuka World, or either side with the Raiders or use them in the long term with the settlement system, I think this is a good armor to fit for your character or even some of the companions offered by the DLC. So last but not least, we have the AER-1 by Mike Moore. That's going to stand for the Advanced Energy Assault Rifle. And that's more or less what this mod is. It's adding in kind of a laser assault rifle into the game. We don't have too many mods taking advantage of that, and I really don't consider an automatic laser pistol or even the laser rifle an assault rifle. The laser pistol or automatic version is kind of an SMG, or best can be compared to that, while the rifle is, well, a rifle. It's not automatic at all. A laser assault rifle could be very cool if done correctly. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we quite have that here. Again, I think the concept here is good, but there's way too many issues with this gun for it to be a great mod. That's why I'm kind of putting it in a series called Cool Mods. First and foremost, the texture quality needs a huge bump. I feel like the weapon modifications are pretty minimal, although you still have a few good options there, especially with the receivers. You could really change the way this does damage. And then just kind of a weird glitch. This made my character black. Yeah, I don't really know what happened there. As well as when you modify it, it just becomes unknown in your inventory. Like the name of the gun will be unknown. But with all that aside, when you're actually using this gun in first person, I found it very enjoyable to use. If the textures were much higher quality, I could kind of forget about all those other issues, but unfortunately they're not. Again, nonetheless, this made me realize how badly I want a gun like this. The laser automatic pistol thing really just doesn't follow the same role, and the RCW again isn't really up to the par that this thing is. It's not an assault rifle. That again is more of an SMG. Regardless, with all that being said, it is a very fun gun to use. I would definitely download it and maybe throw it in your game so it'll spawn in the leveled list or something like that, although maybe you don't want to use it so much personally. I love to see where this goes in the future. Hopefully we do get a texture upgrade and maybe not make everyone black, but regardless, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of 5 Cool Mods. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I did enjoy making it. I think we got a pretty good mix of mods. As always, I thank you guys for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.